Are you a paralegal candidate looking to write your P1 licensing examination with the Law Society of Ontario? Are you someone who has no idea what to expect going into this exam? And have you ever wondered how the Law Society is actually testing you?
So this is just a quick interruption for those of you who are thinking about whether or not you should apply to participate in Pretty Paralegal's How to Pass P1 Licensing Exam Prep and Career Accelerator program. This is a video review from one of my former students. Enjoy.
My name is Mandeep and I currently am a licensed paralegal. However, I was a paralegal candidate earlier this year. Just like many of you who are probably watching this video, I had so many questions about this exam and I wasn't even sure where to begin. A little bit about my experience so far going through school and the licensing exam and where I'm at right now. I graduated from the Paralegal Accelerated program from Seneca College back in 2022, and I just recently wrote my licensing exam in February this year and became licensed with the Law Society in May. I do currently work with Naomi Joy Blackhall from Pretty Paralegal at her legal services firm. And before I started working and just going back to when I was a student doing my placement, by the time the program ended, I wasn't really sure what my next steps were going to be. I was heading into my placement, and I wasn't sure, what comes after that. How do I start preparing for the exam, and when do I prepare for the exam? When do I ideally want to write the exam? And school is good for teaching you the substantive legal education, learning the processes of small claims court, the tribunals, and which forms to use and when, as well as how to develop a theory of a case, how to perform effective legal research, and how to sufficiently and effectively advocate for your client and their interests. One thing school does not teach you is how to think like a paralegal. And I think that's so important because throughout school we were taught, to become licensed and open your own legal practice. And they teach you the business side of that. However, in the real world, there's so many processes that you need to take to actually become prepared and fully equipped to run a practice. But before you even get to that, you have to get through the licensing exam, right? It wasn't until the end of the paralegal program and when I began my placement with Naomi that I got a sense of what it is like to actually be a paralegal and to think like a paralegal. My placement with her was very challenging. She asked a lot of challenging questions and probing questions to get you to really see how much you actually understand the law and legal concepts and legal doctrines. And that was great because that actually helped me prepare for my exam. And when I was going through materials and just studying, a lot of these concepts were familiar with me because I was challenged on my knowledge of them. It also wasn't until I began my placement that I realized that Naomi had actually created a program for students called the How to Pass Your P1 Licensing Exam. And I remember talking to her about it. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this program? What are you doing in this program? And basically this program, Naomi will lay out all the steps for the licensing exam. Everything from how to organize your materials, from understanding legal concepts and legal doctrines, to providing you with tests to help you prepare for the exam, multiple choice tests actually, because the test is multiple choice. It actually provides you with tips and tricks on how to understand and look at the questions, read the questions to gauge, okay, what is the Law Society asking me on this exam? What is the expectation for this exam? Obviously, there's never a guarantee when you take a program like this to help you prepare for an exam. There's never really a guarantee that you're going to pass the exam. But I can definitely say that the amount of effort that Naomi took in developing this program, all the coaching and teaching that she does, the one-on-ones with students in helping them the tips and tricks that she provides, it definitely helps you go into the exam with more of a focused perspective and an idea of what to expect overall. One thing I found extremely helpful was that Naomi pointed out that each student has a different archetype. And my archetype as a student is an overthinker. I tend to overthink my answers to certain questions, which has me second guessing and debating, like, oh no, like it could be either or just kind of like going off topic on how to make the answer seem like it's the most correct answer kind of thing. And that actually scared me, because I was like, what if on the exam, which is timed by the way, what if I spend too much time second guessing my answers and I'm not able to finish? And kind of a funny thing now, when writing the exam, I found for the first 2 hours I was really focused just on the first section, and that was because I was overthinking a lot of my answers to the questions. And for a second there, after the 2-hour mark, I had a little panic attack. I was like, I'm not going to finish the exam, and which means I might fail the exam, and kind of just took me a second to get grounded. And I found one of the tip sheets that she gave. You have your materials there with you at the exam, but one of the tip sheets that she gave actually is there to kind of help you understand the question and what the Law Society is asking of you. And when I found that sheet, it helped me just get grounded for a second and be like, okay, just take it one step at a time and you'll get there. And I actually ended up finishing the exam with about 10 minutes to spare, which was fantastic. But if it hadn't been for her help and the coaching throughout the How to Pass program, I'm not sure that I would have actually passed my exam on the first attempt. I would not have known what to do and what preparation I needed to do for this exam. I honestly could not recommend her program enough. If you are currently in that position that I was in before, where you had no idea where to start and you have no idea how the Law Society is actually testing you, I would definitely recommend taking her simulated placement as well as the How to Pass program. It not only benefited me through the examination process, but it also helped me with where I'm at right now as a licensed paralegal. So if you're really interested in this program, I would recommend it. Click the link below and see if you're eligible for the program. And best of luck to all of you future paralegals.